need to post about your grind. You don't need to convince people how hungry you are. You don't need to shout your plans to the world. You just need to get to Milwaukee. Too many people talk. They talk big. They talk loud. They post quotes. They flash fake hustle. But when the lights are off, when the cameras are gone, when it's just them and the grind, they quiet. They disappear. And you don't need the noise. You don't need the claps. You don't need the likes. What you need is a routine. What you need is discipline. What you need is to show up every single day, even when you feel nothing. Because the real ones, the dangerous ones, they don't announce, they execute. They don't prove with words, they prove with results. Real work doesn't need an audience. The grind that builds greatness doesn't happen in the spotlight, it happens in the dark. It's in those early mornings when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, and when no one is posting about it. That's where the foundation is laid. The ones who truly want it don't wait for approval. They don't chase recognition. They chase growth. They chase mastery. Because the truth is, the audience comes later, but the grind comes first. If you're only working hard when someone's looking, you're not really working, you're performing. Real champions understand that the process isn't pretty and it's not always inspiring. Sometimes it's boring. Sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it's lonely, but it's necessary. You don't need to broadcast your hustle. You don't need validation every step of the way. You need focus. You need consistency. You need to show up for yourself every day with or without a crowd. The results will eventually make all the noise you need. The wins, the breakthroughs, the transformation, that's what speaks. So don't waste your breath trying to prove your effort. Put all that energy into proving your future. Let the grind shape you in silence. And let the work reveal who you really are. Discipline is louder than words. Anyone can say they're going to grind. Anyone can post about ambition. But it's the daily choices that separate the talkers from the doers. Discipline means showing up when it's not fun, when it's not flashy, and when nobody else is doing it. It's waking up before the sun, putting in the reps, reading the books, doing the work when no one's clapping. Words can sound impressive, but they fade. Discipline sticks. It builds over time and it builds character. When you live with discipline, you don't need motivation to push you because your habits already carry you. You don't rely on moods, you rely on mindset. You don't need hype, you've built the system. The reason most people fail isn't because they lack talent, it's because they lack consistency. Discipline is what makes talent content. It's the key to winning the long game. While others are making noise about what they'll do, discipline is already making progress. It doesn't need to shout, it just moves. One decision at a time, one step at a time, until the life you dreamed about becomes the life you live. Discipline doesn't make promises, it makes results, and that's what makes it powerful. Results speak louder than intentions. You can have big dreams, powerful goals, and the best vision board in the world, but if there's no action behind it, it means nothing. Everyone says they want to win, but few are willing to do what winning requires. You can talk about success all day, but if you're not putting in the work, no one's listening. Results are the proof. They are the undeniable echo of what you've sacrificed, what you've endured, and what you've built when no one believed in you. You don't need to convince people that you're serious when your results show up before you do. People might doubt your words, but they can't argue with your results. That's why focus matters more than noise. When you're locked in on growth, you don't have time to keep explaining yourself. Let your progress speak for you. Let the transformation in your body, your mind, your business, your life, let that be the response to every critic, every doubter, and every version of your old self. Because results are louder than any speech, louder than any promise, louder than any excuse. When you produce, the world pays attention, not because you told them, but because they can't ignore it. Quiet grind brings loud victories. The loudest wins often come from the quietest seasons. When you're deep in the grind, when you're locked into the process, there's no need to announce every step you take. You're not working for attention. You're working for elevation. You're building something solid while others are chasing applause. Every drop of sweat, every repetition, every early morning and late night, it all adds up even when no one sees it. That quiet grind is where strength is built, where discipline is tested, and where character is formed. Most people quit because they want instant noise, instant results, instant recognition. But the ones who win are the ones who are patient enough to grind in silence. They trust the process more than the praise. They know that when the time is right, the results will speak for themselves. You don't have to explain your progress to anyone when the outcome is undeniable. Stay quiet, stay focused, and let the noise come when it's supposed to. Not from your mouth, but from your life. When it's time, the world will hear your success loud and clear. Not because you shouted, but because you stayed in the shadows long enough to become something unstoppable. Success is the only proof you need. You don't need to explain your grind to people who don't see your vision. You don't have to convince anyone to believe in what you're building. Your results will do that. When you commit to something with everything inside you, when you give it your time, your energy, your focus, and your patience, the outcome becomes your message. Success doesn't need an introduction. It doesn't need a long caption. It walks into the room and commands respect all by itself. People might doubt you at first. They might ignore you. They might even laugh at your discipline, your habits, your quiet lifestyle. But they won't be able to ignore the fruit. They won't be able to deny what shows up because of your consistency. So don't get caught up in trying to defend your path. Don't waste your voice explaining your hustle. Just build. Just grow. Just keep pushing. Let them see what happens when someone stays faithful to the work even when no one claps. Let them witness what silence and sacrifice turn into, because once success arrives, it shuts down every critic, every excuse, and every ounce of doubt you ever had to fight through. The journey to success isn't about being the loudest in the room. It's about being the most consistent when no one's watching. It's about waking up early, grinding when you're tired, and pushing through when others have already quit. Every day, people shout about their goals, post about their hustle, and talk about what they're going to do. But the truth is, none of that matters without the work. None of that means anything without results. The real difference makers, the ones who rise above, are the ones who stay quiet, stay focused, and let their lives be the answer. You don't have to prove anything to anybody when your work is solid. You don't have to explain your purpose when your actions are louder than your voice. The people who change the game aren't the ones who spend all day talking about the grind. They're the ones too busy grinding to talk. You don't need validation. You don't need applause. You need purpose. You need fire. You need discipline. that doesn't care if it gets credit or not. That quiet commitment, that silent storm inside of you, that's what leads to loud victories. Success doesn't come to those who shout the most. It comes to those who can endure the silence, who can embrace the dark room, who can stay locked in when everything around them is screaming for distraction. It's in that space, the quiet, the lonely, the uncomfortable, where greatness is born. While others are out seeking attention, you're building something that can't be ignored. Your success, your breakthrough, your next level. That's the only sound that needs to be heard. And when that success comes, you won't have to say a word. The people who doubted you, they'll see. The ones who didn't believe in your vision, they'll notice. The same world that overlooked your effort will have no choice but to respect the outcome. Not because you begged for recognition, but because you were too focused to be distracted. You were too locked in to waste time explaining. You were too committed to let noise pull you off course. So from this day forward, commit to the grind in silence. Don't get caught up in the noise, the pressure, or the opinions of people who don't know your purpose. Let your effort be louder than your ego. Let your growth be louder than your excuses. Let your focus be louder than your fears. Move in purpose, build in private. And when the time is right, let your success walk in first and speak on your behalf. Because in the end, talk fades, applause fades, hype fades, but results, they echo forever. Stay quiet, stay humble, stay hungry. Let your success make the noise.